British Airways Gold status. Is it actually still possible to earn this for less than £3,000? It absolutely is, and today I'm going to show you how. I recently earned BA Gold for the first time and it cost me a lot more than this, but that's because I was primarily doing trips that I just wanted to do anyway and wasn't really chasing that status right until the end of the year. But what if there was a way that I could still do bookings for relatively simple trips that anyone could easily replicate that would still keep the cost below £3,000? Why £3,000? Well, you need 1,500 tier points for BA Gold status, and it's widely considered by most frequent flyers that getting about £2 per tier point is typically something that's giving you good value, almost to the point that it would be worth flying the flight just for the sake of getting those points. So if I do decide to retain my gold status in 2025, this is how I would do it, without needing to do any particular optimizing for tier points or doing any tier point runs. But if you're new here or new to the world of tier points, let me first cover a few of the basics. So firstly, what are tier points? Well, these are points that you earn when you fly with BA or its One World partners and credit those flights to your BA Executive Club account. Generally speaking, the longer the distance and the more premium cabin that you're in, the more tier points you'll earn. You'll earn bronze status for 300 points, silver status for 600 points, and then gold for 1,500 points. For me, silver has always been a bit of a sweet spot. That's where you get free seat selection and you also get access to the business class lounges. There's not really a huge step up once you get to gold, but you do get access to the first class lounges, and with your seat selection you can book the front rows of the seats. There are a few additional benefits, but to be honest, those are the main key ones to look out for. Now, I've already got quite a lot of long haul destinations booked for next year, so we've got trips going to the Middle East, to Africa, to Asia, Central America, the Caribbean, and also a trip over to the US. Most of which were booked with Avios points, so they won't earn any tier points. And given all the faraway destinations that we've already got booked, I think when we're looking at cash bookings, we're probably going to be looking closer to home, mainly in Europe. So that's what I'm going to primarily focus on for these bookings. But it is worth saying there are some fantastic tier point earning opportunities in Asia, going with the likes of Sri Lankan Airlines or Malaysian Airlines. There's also some brilliant opportunities in the US, flying over to the US and then doing a couple of connecting flights with American Airlines to get to your final destination. Again, that can work out as a brilliant way to earn tier points. But booking that kind of trip, it can be a bit complex. But I think as well, that can just be a bit too much hassle if you're just looking to book a holiday, say as a couple or as a family. I think if you really want to optimize things perfectly and just do a quick tier point run, those routes are fantastic, but not necessarily as just a normal holiday trip. And in this video, I just want to focus a bit more on those simple bookings that can earn this status. So I'm primarily going to be looking at places that we want to go as a couple and can book as a holiday. And the first destination I found is a really exciting one. So this is a brand new route that BA are launching in 2025, and this is to Tbilisi, Georgia. Now, Georgia is a country that's been on my radar for a really long time to travel to. Pretty much every travel blogger, vlogger, and anyone that I know that's ever been to Georgia always seems to have it in their top 5 countries that they've been to. But for whatever reason, I've just not quite got around to doing that myself. Now, in recent years, there haven't been any direct routes between the UK and Georgia. However, there's now 2 routes launching, so there's the BA one and also EasyJet next year. And now that that direct route has opened up, it seems like a great opportunity for us to finally go. And if we're going to do that, we may as well fly with BA and get ourselves some tier points in the process. Now, because of the distance that Georgia is from the UK, this actually falls into the category of earning 140 tier points each way. And because I would need a connecting flight down from Newcastle to London, that outbound flight is going to earn me 180 tier points overall. The return will then earn another 180 tier points. And if we look to book this as a BA holiday with 5 nights stay or longer, we'll then double that tier points. So instead of earning 360, we'll get 720 tier points from the one trip. So already we've got silver status and we're almost half of our way to gold. But how much will this cost? Well, it turns out it's actually really affordable. So let's look to book the 2 of us going in business class and staying for a week. And I've actually searched this with quite a few different dates now, and everything I've looked at, it always seems to be a similar price range. There's certain dates that are slightly cheaper, other dates that are slightly more expensive, but it always seems to be roughly around that £1,300 mark. So because this is such an affordable destination, we'll each be earning 1.8 tier points per pound for this booking. Now, will I make this exact booking? No, probably not this exact one. I might tweak the dates, do like a mock scene for the purposes of this demo. I'll lock that one in as the one we would go for. So yeah, to me, this booking was an absolute no-brainer. It's a country that we've wanted to go to for absolutely years. There's finally a good direct route for us to get there. It'll earn us about half the tier points we need just from the one trip, and it'll be nice and affordable. The only downside, and it is quite a big downside I do have to say, is it's some terrible flight times. So despite the 5-hour flight duration, BA are actually running this on a narrow body. So this is their standard Club Europe A320, where you've just got the economy seat with the middle seat blocked out. Now, that's fine. I can handle a 5-hour flight in that seat. It'll be perfectly comfortable. I'll have space. There'll be food and drink. But the flight time is horrendous. You're setting off after 9 p.m. and it's an overnight flight. You arrive into Tbilisi at 5 a.m. So this is a nighttime flight on a narrow body with basically the economy seat. So not quite your usual business class experience. But even with that, I do still think it's good value. That first day in Georgia might just be a bit of a write-off as I recover from it. Then we should be good to go for the rest of the week. Next up, I'm going to look at somewhere in Eastern Europe that was recently put on my radar. So Eastern European BA holidays and flights in general tend to be really good ways of earning tier points. You'll earn 80 points each way going from Heathrow to some of these places. The classic example that a lot of people do, and I've done myself in the past, is a flight over to Sofia in Bulgaria. However, the one that I'm interested in at the moment is Bucharest in Romania. Now, I have been to Bucharest before, but this was only for a couple of days, quite a few years ago now when I was doing a bit of a backpacking trip. And to be honest, I didn't really do too much other than have a few beers and eat some good food. Now, my sister and her wife actually recently just got back from a trip to Romania. And from looking at their photos they shared with us with going up into the mountains and seeing bears, it just looked really cool. So it's somewhere that I would actually be really interested in going and just exploring a bit more than I did that first trip. I think a time that would probably work quite well for us for this is going around September. So let's have a look at that. And again, this is looking at booking it as a BA holiday for a week. In reality, maybe we'd end up going for a shorter time than this. We'd only need to stay 5 nights to lock in the double tier points, and that might be enough time for us. But for the sake of this, I'm just going to look at doing a week, and it looks like that can be had for £900 each. So once again, because I'm going from Newcastle, I'll be getting 40 tier points for the flight from Newcastle down to Heathrow. It'll be 80 points from Heathrow over to Bucharest, then the same number of points in reverse, and then that'll be doubled again for the BA holiday. So that trip would earn us 480 tier points at a cost of 1.88 tier points per pound. So slightly more than the other trip, but booking this would bring us each up to 1,200 tier points for a spend of £2,155. So already from those 2 trips, we are very close to gold. We just need 300 more tier points, and we've got a budget of about £845 to do it in. There are a huge number of options that I could look at that would get me 300 tier points. I could do multiple mini breaks to Europe and just go for a couple of days, so not needing to do it as a BA holiday to get the double tier points. Just do 1 or 2 trips over to Europe. I could do 1 long haul trip and get it in that. But I think given all of the trips that we have booked already, the most likely thing that we'll actually want to do is to probably have just a week's sun holiday somewhere, or maybe a bit less, maybe do like 5 nights in the sun, just on a beach, just a nice relaxing break. So I think the best thing to do to find something that will work in budget is to go on BA's Holiday Finder. So on here, I can select the month or the specific date that I want to go. And on the destination, I can just filter to any place that I'd be willing to go for this trip. So I'd be fairly open. If it's just a sun holiday, it doesn't really matter to me too much where I am. So I can go ahead and select all the destinations that I'd be willing to go to for this. Obviously, also need to change the cabin to business class to make sure it's giving us the prices for flying in business, because that's what we'll need to be able to get enough tier points. And then once I've selected all the requirements I got for this trip, I can just hit search. And once I get on the page, I can sort that from lowest price to highest price and just see is there anywhere in there within the price range that comes out for less than what we want for the tier points, but would actually be somewhere that we want to go. And I can see here that there are some options going to Malaga that are coming in there or thereabouts to our budget, getting us up to gold for £3,000. Now, would I actually do this specific trip? Possibly. I could also look to do what I mentioned before and maybe reduce the Romania trip, free up a bit of additional budget for the sun holiday, maybe get a bit of a nicer hotel. But even if I don't book these exact flights and exact hotels, I think this does at least demonstrate that it is still perfectly possible to earn that gold status without a huge spend, while still focusing on doing trips that you actually really want to do. But I think an important thing to remember is that just because you can get BA Gold for £3,000 doesn't mean that you should. If bringing your trips under that budget is going to be to the detriment of the experience, and if you can afford to spend more and you know it'll improve your stay, then I don't think optimizing tier point value should be the be all and end all. Another important thing to note is, the type of travel I'm talking about here and the way that I've costed it out. Obviously that works great for us. We're a couple, we split the expenses and we both want to have that status. If you're traveling solo, this BA Holidays strategy might not work as well for you because obviously that hotel stay can be quite an expensive proportion of the trip. So the solo cost of that could be quite a bit higher. But then again, if you are visiting places like Georgia or Bucharest, the accommodation cost isn't crazy, so it still can come at a reasonable cost, but you're not going to be able to get it, at least in the example dates that I've used, for under £3,000. If you found this video interesting and you'd like to learn a bit more about how you can earn more tier points, watch this video next.